Blog Talk Radio.
Hey sports fans, time to take your seat in the stands. For the next hour, it's A Kind Voice on Sports with your host, Demetrius Means. He'll have insights, interviews, and more. And now, your half-court, 50-yard line seat for sports, Demetrius Means.
And thank you very much, and welcome to A Kind Voice on Sports. Folks, I have a special guest with me today. I should say three different guests. I have the terrific three. Today we're going to be talking about women in sports. Becky Hammond, who has just signed on with the San Antonio Spurs as an assistant coach. She has just become a trailblazer, the first woman assistant basketball coach with an NBA team. We're going to be talking about many different topics with women in sports, but let's get to the guests. First up on the docket is going to be Allison Cockrell. She's an athletic director and a softball coach at Northumberland High School, and a great softball coach and a great athletic director at that. And she has done a great job a year ago turning the girls' basketball program around at Northumberland High School in Heathville, Virginia. Allison, I appreciate you joining me. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. It's my pleasure. Glad to be here.
Thank you. And next up is Keisha Paxton. She's the athletic director at the Apprentice School in Newport News. She's also a former player, basketball player. She attended CNU for 2 years, the Apprentice School for 2 years. She's been the athletic director at the Apprentice School from 2008 up until the present, and she played in Australia. And she played in 2 different national championships. She's been a champion at the Apprentice School, doing a great job as the athletic director, turning that program around. Keisha, I appreciate you joining me here on the Kind Voice on Sports.
I appreciate the opportunity. I'm sure it's going to be a great experience.
And last but not least is Trina Patterson, a former Warwick High School player. She attended UVA from 1993 to 1997. She played under head coach Debbie Ryan. She was also the head coach in 1998 at William & Mary for women's basketball. And also she was the head coach at Albany University. And guess what, folks? She also coached Becky Hammond in 1998 on the USA basketball team. Trina, appreciate you joining me. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to you. Thanks for the invite to A Kind Voice.
Absolutely. Well, let's get it started, guys. First, let me go to Keisha. Keisha, what makes you good at what you do as a former player and also now as an athletic director?
Well, obviously experience lends itself to, your current situation, no matter what the case may be. But being a former athlete, a former coach, it also always gives you the ability to relate to different situations, relate to different people in your environment. Gives you the ability to be patient in some of the situations that you deal with. But, it just helps you just be better in knowing your craft, knowing your field, and when you get into administration, being able to, be effective.
All right, that's Keisha Paxton out at the Apprentice School in Newport News. Let's go to Allison Cockrell in Heathville, Virginia. Allison, what makes you good at what you do, being a former player, now a softball coach, and also an athletic director?
Well, I think it's important to be passionate about whatever you're doing, and that goes into a lot of my coaching philosophy, and that went into a lot as a player. No matter what I was playing. I just wanted people to know that I was passionate about whatever I'm doing. And, you take your experiences you learn on the field, kind of like what Keisha said, but you put that passion into it and you let people know you care about them and that you have their best interest at heart. And I think as long as you're doing that, I think success usually follows that, at least in my experience. So I'm pretty big on being passionate and about just giving everything I've got to whatever task is at hand and whoever I'm leading at the time.
And let's go to Trina Patterson, the top assistant at Old Dominion University for women's basketball. Trina, you played UVA. You've coached on many different schools. What makes you good at what you do?
That's a great question. There are 2 cornerstones to what makes me good at what I do. I'm very passionate about the sport that I love, and I also have a great work ethic. And I think without those 2 cornerstones, and I'm sort of borrowing a little from John Wooden's Pyramid of Success, Those are the two, to me, the pillars for keeping it all together.
Such a great response from all three of you ladies. So my question to all three is, and I will call your name out when I'm talking to whoever it is, then what is the problem with society today? Why is it, and let's go to Allison Cockrell in Heathsville, Virginia, why is it that women do not get the respect in sports like males do?
Well, I'm not sure if it's a question of why they don't get the respect as much as why they don't get the not so much respect, but notoriety, and I guess just kind of they're not being seen as much that I think. I think that every time you turn on SportsCenter or you turn on the sports channel, you see the professional athletes and you see the college games and the males. It's a little bit more difficult for females to get that publicity and to get that recognition, and I think a lot of it has to do with the differences in the men's game and the women's game, and similar sports like basketball or what have you, with the speed of the game and things like that. It's just harder for some reason it's been harder for the women's game to get that attention and to draw crowds, at the professional level. But I don't think it's a lack of respect across the board. I think it's just for some reason, the opportunity to get that publicity and to get seen at a professional level and to draw crowds has been an issue. Money talks, and for some reason professional women's sports haven't brought the money in to the owners and to the teams, and I think that's had a big impact on how known it is in the U.S. and across the board.
Okay, so Trina out in Norfolk for the assistant coach for Old Dominion University, is it the lack of respect or is it the lack of respect and recognition?
Well, what I've seen in my years of playing basketball at the University of Virginia, when we played, we sold out the gym. This was back in 1987. I played in 1983 through 1987. We were ranked as high as third in the country, and I played in a packed gym. And the reason why I played in a packed gym is because of marketing. And it was hot dog night, and we sold the place out. And that was at U-Haul. And so that tells you back in 1987 that you can sell out a game. Our game is growing. We are now selling out Final Fours. Certain programs have sellout games. So it's just the matter is marketing our sport. And so when you market the sport and you find those interested, once you get hooked on it, you stay hooked on it. And that's kind of one of the reasons why the women's game, those that haven't seen the game, that's what happens with it, I think, Demetrius. So, but it has grown a lot.
Okay, let's go to Keisha. Keisha, Trina talks about how it's grown a lot. You are athletic director. You played college ball. You also played overseas. You played in Australia. What do you see as an athletic director? Because you get a chance to kind of have hands-on what needs to be done to promote women's sports, and what are some of your thoughts about what Trina just said?
I think Trina's spot on. I mean, it's a matter of where we invest our time and our dollars. You're going to pay dividends where you invest, and sometimes that time and those dollars aren't always invested in women's sports. The draw, the opportunity's there, the interest is there. It's just a matter of where you invest your money and your time. As far as women in sports and the respect issue, I totally agree with both. The both of the speakers, because it's not. I don't really think it's a respect issue. Once you know your stuff and you get to talk and shop. I don't experience situations where guys aren't interested in what I have to say, because once if I can carry on the conversation about the game last night, they don't really care if I'm male or female. But for me, in my opinion, I think it comes down to two things: business and football. When it comes to business, we deal with the same thing in the business world as we deal with in athletics. It's just a challenge of getting through those barriers and those preconceived ideas and notions about women at the boardroom table, women in leadership positions, and just changing those perspectives. And we're seeing that happen time and time and time again all around the world. It's just a matter of time. And as far as football is concerned, football dominates athletics. And I think one of the challenges that we face as women in sports is that especially if it's an administrative position, is that, people want to feel comfortable that, you know how to take care of a football field. They want to feel comfortable that you know what it takes or how complex it can be to run a football program. And, you don't see a whole lot of female football players, so they just assume that, maybe you are somewhat less than qualified. When the reality is several male athletic directors have never played a down of football. So at the end of the day, it just comes down to, being able to have the opportunity, to be given the opportunity. It's not a matter of being given respect, just given the chance to step out and show that we're capable.
Okay, so you mentioned giving it a chance, and also the word marketing came up. Let's talk about marketing. What has to be done for women's sports in regards to marketing? Because it seems like much doesn't have to be done with male sports. So let's go to Allison in Heathville, Virginia. Allison, what needs to be done?
I just think that, and I loved what you said about football. That's completely true. I agree with that 100%. And I run a much smaller football program than she runs up there, but I know exactly what you're saying there. And when I'm looking at my promotions, even here at the high school level, we focus on football because that's our moneymaker. I think if schools across the board, if organizations across the board really focused on getting people out to see the women's sports as much as they focus on getting them out to see the men's sports, that you would see a change. I know, in my experience with college softball, and they've done the NCAA's done a great job of marketing the World Series and marketing the regionals and super regionals and just marketing the sport and getting people educated, getting people so that they see it, they understand it. And again, like someone mentioned earlier, just falling in love with the new sport can really have a big impact. Just again, paying more attention to program across the board and not just on the sports that you're already selling out if you don't have giveaways, and doing featuring female athletes in stories just as often as you feature male athletes, because there are female athletes that are doing great things and should get that opportunity to be spotlighted just as often as the male athletes might be.
So, Trina, back in Norfolk, the assistant coach for Old Dominion University, in your opinion, how far has women's sports come?
Oh, women's sports has come so far back to when the AAU programs were one in the state of Virginia with the Virginia Vogues when I played, to now having over 250 teams play in an event in the weekend at the Boo Williams event when we go recruit in April. So that starts at the grassroots. And then as you move forward to the high school, when teams are playing, traveling across the nation to play other top teams, other top girls teams in high school. And so they're ranked nationally. And then, they're noted as the number one player in the country or the number two high school player in the country. And they're right along with the boys doing those high school All-American games. They're standing side by side. So now moving up to the next layer of NCAA college basketball, where the player Sky Diggins, who graduated from Notre Dame, signed on for a contract to design Nike because of her following with Twitter. And she is a star in the women's game with the WNBA, to players like Brittany Griner who can dunk the ball and then draw crowds that way. So the numbers are in the stands at this level. The WNBA is still striving to sell out on a regular basis like the NBA. And they have a short season and a specific season. But now with, again, players in the league that have star power like Skylar Diggins and the Agul McKays and Brittany Griner, those players are now drawing people. As a matter of fact, Demetrius, I was at a AAU event, and Sky Diggins came into the gym, and I thought that maybe Beyonce walked in, because all of the girls were screaming and yelling and running across the gym because they saw her, and I had never seen anything like that in my life. And so that was amazing to me, that star power that goes along with some of the kind of star power that goes with, the NBA players. And so, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's what's happening, and it's just going to keep growing. It's going to keep going, but we do know that it's always about finances, always.
You're listening to A Kind Voice on Sports with your host, Demetrius Means. We are talking about women in sports. I'm talking with Allison Cockrell, the athletic director and softball coach at Northumberland High School in Heathville, Virginia, and Keisha Paxton, the athletic director and former player at the Apprentice School in Newport News, and also Trina Patterson, the top assistant women's head basketball coach at Old Dominion University. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the guest. You're listening to A Kind Voice on Sports. Whatever you do, don't touch the dial. We'll be right back in a while.
Hi, I'm Claire Bloom, and I started End 68 Hours of Hunger to put bags of food in the hands of local children who have little or nothing to eat for the 68 hours between the free lunch they get in school on Friday and the free breakfast they get in school on Monday. Our vision is to end childhood hunger in America one school at a time, and that's how we operate. We start programs wherever we have 2 volunteers in a community who are prepared to step up and take responsibility for running the program, and we grow from there. Today, we're feeding 900 children each weekend in 29 communities, and we're growing. If you're interested in starting a program in your community, please visit our website at www.end68hoursofhunger.org and click on the tab at the top of the page that says FAQ. Everything you need to know about starting a program is there, including videos on how to talk with groups, how to set up your space, and even what kind of food to include in the bags. Feel free to reach out to me at end68hoursofhunger@gmail.com.
Hi, I'm Tiffany with Friends from Home. Did you know that every year roughly 40 million Americans change their address? That's almost 13% of the U.S. population. Many of them move from one coast to the other and for many different reasons. A new job, better weather, or just a much-needed change. But no matter where you move, it can be hard to meet people that you connect with. That is what Friends from Home is all about. Find a community of people in your city that are from your home state or country without having to friend request strangers. You can also find events to meet people you'll have more rapport with. Visit friendsfromhome.com and get connected to kind voices that are from where you are from.
A Kind Voice Radio.
And welcome back to A Kind Voice on Sports. This is your host, Demetrius Means. We are talking about women in sports. I have with me on the panel Allison Cockrell, the athletic director and softball coach from Northumberland High School in Heathville, Virginia. Keisha Paxton, the athletic director at the Apprentice School in Newport News. She's also a former player. And also Trina Patterson, the assistant women's basketball coach from Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. Ladies, let's move on. Let's talk about the role model aspect for women in sports. I have come across many different males, and I've even heard Charles Barkley say that he is not a role model. Why are women, well, let me ask you this. Let's go to Keisha. Keisha, are you a role model?
I think we all have the opportunity to be one. It's just a matter of how we conduct ourselves and how we pride ourselves in displaying character, regardless of what position you're in or what stature you have. I think at some level we're all role models, whether good or bad.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish.
I was going to say whether good or bad, we're all role models.
What makes a good role model, Keisha?
Well, I kind of like I said. First of all, I think that your character will kind of dictate what type of role model you will be. A lot of people say that athletics is a great vehicle for developing character, but I believe that it's really a great vehicle for revealing character. How you really handle situations, whether it's times of adversity or whether it's times of defeat or whatever the situation may be. So I think that what makes you a good role model is just how you deal with life, how you deal with people, the examples that you create for people to model after. I think it's also a matter of integrity, that you can always stand on the right side of right, regardless of how difficult it may be sometimes. I think that's an important aspect of being a role model. And then being able to believe in yourself and have the confidence in knowing that you stand for something. Whether it could be your faith, it could be, your position, it could be whatever it may be. Just having that confidence and being able to justify your position and share that with others.
You listen to A Kind Voice on Sports with your host, Demetrius Means. We're talking women's sports. I'm talking with Allison Cockrell, Keisha Paxton, and also Trina Patterson. Allison, James Brown from CBS Sports said, whether you want to be a role model or not, you are, because young people see what you do and they say what you say. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And, as coaches, that's our players. Here in a small community, where I am, we preach that every day to our players. You got to carry yourself in a way where you're going to be proud of yourself, and others are going to want to model your behavior. And we, like I said, we preach that. You have, anytime you're on the field, you've got young people that are watching that want to be where you are. And not just young people, all people, just watching to see how you carry yourself, how you act, how you react to situations, kind of like she was saying. So yeah, you're always a role model, and anybody can be one too, like she was saying too. It all about, it's all about character. It's all about being able to carry yourself in a way that you're proud of, and how you want to be represented, and how you want to be remembered. And it's not just us in leadership roles. It's across the board, whether it be players, coaches, parents, anyone. So I completely agree with that statement.
Allison, do you feel pressured by being a role model?
I don't feel pressured. I take it, and I'm proud of it. I embrace it. I want to be a role model for kids, and I try to be somebody they can look up to, and try to live my life in a way that I can go to bed every night and know that I've given everything I had, and that I'm making a difference in somebody's life. And I hope my kids do that as well. They should be proud of themselves. They should have the confidence to know who they are, why they do what they do every day, and just go have a purpose in their life and strive to be the best they can be. And that's something that I'm pretty passionate about, and that I hope that others can see in me and try to either maybe not model, but kind of live off of that and find some inspiration there. So, yeah.
Trina, you played the game, you coached the game, you have so many young ladies that look up to you. What is it model?
Sorry, I missed that, Demetrius, the last part.
I said you have so many, you coached the game, you played the game, yes. You have so many young ladies who look up to you. What is it like for you to be a role model?
Well, for me, I love the fact that I am a role model. I kind of am a role model in different ways. I never take it off the hat. I never take off that role model hat. I'm a mom. I have 3 boys, one in high school, middle school, and one is 7 years old. I'm a wife. And as a matter of fact, my husband and I just celebrated our 20th anniversary of being married. And also, that's my hat at home. My hat on the job is that I'm a role model for young teenagers who then soon become women. They go from 18 to 22. And so that's growth. I love seeing them grow, and I love kind of showing them how to make their way. And I kind of understand that they're going to make mistakes, but when they make mistakes, how do they handle them? I've been a role model in also different geographic areas. I'm from the South. I'm a Southern girl, all from Virginia, but I've lived in the Northeast and I've lived in the West. And there's different cultural philosophies in all of those spaces. But I say to myself, stay true to who you are. And if people hear a little twang because they say you're from the South, I say yes. So that just all of that of who you are. They see you, that you're real, all of that. Then you are always on the stage, regardless if you want to be or not. It's inevitable when you're coaching.
Keisha, I had a very specific reason why I wanted all 3 of you guys on this panel tonight, because, number one, this show, as I indicated earlier, is about having a kind voice, and all 3 of you ladies have that. But, Keisha, what is it? There's a special communication between female to female that male coach just can't seem to get to. You guys, women, have that special touch, that special communication that really comes across and touches the heart of the individual that you're coaching. What is it, and why is that?
Well, I don't know if you've ever heard of the analogy, women are like noodles and men are like waffles. Men think in boxes and little sections before they move on, and women, we can just get in there in any kind of old way and we still get it. I think that's a real visual indicator of just the differences at times between men and women. So when you talk about being able to communicate from, woman to woman, it's innate. It's who we are. It's a gender characteristic of who we are, and so you could relate experientially, you can relate emotionally. I think the emotion component part of it is a very big distinguishing factor. Some men struggle with being extremely vulnerable, and some other women, and most times women are comfortable doing that, especially with other women, and so that kind of gives you the opportunity to really get in there and dig deep and have meaningful discussions.
You said emotion, and I know that that's probably part of it, but I'm coming from a male standpoint that where I don't understand, you can probably educate me on this. But women can walk in a room and not know another woman and can embrace her with a hug and with love. It goes much deeper than that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it does. And, on the top of my head, I would attribute that ability to the fact that we're kind of all in this fight together. I don't know if fight's the right word, but we all, and a lot of times, have an appreciation for the progress we've made as women. Exactly what Trina was talking to, and how women's sports have come along over the years. We see that same progress, like I said, in other fields, in other industries, as far as women are concerned. And so, yeah, it's almost like a camaraderie. You kind of got to stick together. Yeah.
Have you ever coached a male before?
I've done individual instruction with one-on-one with a male and female. So yes, I've coached in that capacity. I've never coached a male team. And
Allison, have you ever coached any males?
Only on a youth level, not in the high school setting. I've helped out at here if we're short, if a coach is short at a practice, I'll come in and help run some practices and things like that. But I think I have a little bit of a unique situation at the high school level because I see these kids every single day. At the small community we're in, I've known them since they came through Little League or YMCA ball, and I know them, I know their parents. So I think that there's a little bit of a trust there that maybe another woman coach who was coming in blind and didn't really know the kids, might not have that I guess advantage. If I were to go into coach a group of males.
And Trina, have you ever coached any male players?
I've coached. I've stepped in a summer league game for my son's high school when we were in New York, and also we do clinics and so I've done clinics for like sixth graders.
Okay, I asked that question. I'm sorry, get finished.
They're all the same.
I asked that question because I've heard by more than once from male coaches that females are easier to coach than males. Do you agree with that, Trina?
Well, it's the nature of coaching women and men. Men and women have different. When they get to the junior level in high school, some of the guys will say, and I know because I have 3 male sons, and I'll say, you can't tell them nothing. They don't listen. They don't listen, and a lot of parents are probably saying the same thing, but it just crosses over to the basketball court. So if that's the case, then maybe men think that who coach boys think that the young boys are maybe harder to coach. in the way they respond.
Mm.
Whereas the girls may not respond in the same way.
Keisha, have you had any experience coaching the males?
I haven't had any experience coaching males, but I do have a perspective on it as far as the differences, because I hear that all the time. You know, I've hired coaches who have switched from coaching females to coaching males and vice versa. And you know, in my opinion, I don't think one is easier than the other. I think they each present their individual challenges. You know, women typically, what I've heard from male coaches is that female athletes, you know, you don't have to get after them as much to work as hard. You know, a lot of times, you know, they can be a lot more independent in their training. You can trust that if you ask them to do something, you know, they'll do it 9 times out of 10. And, you know, a lot of times I've heard with male players, you know, you got to get after them, and, you know, that's a little bit of a different challenge. But also on the male side, you probably don't have to deal with as many emotions and as much personal drama as you might have to on the female side. So there's pros and cons to both sides. I wouldn't say one's easier or harder. I think it's just a matter of where you find your niche.
All right, you're listening to A Kind Voice on Sports with your host, Demetrius Means. I am talking women's sports. I'm talking with Allison Cockrell, the athletic director and softball coach at Northumberland High School in Heathville, Virginia. Keisha Paxson, the athletic director at the Apprentice School, former player, and also Trina Patterson, the assistant coach at Old Dominion University for women's basketball. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we will talk about Becky Hammond. She is the first assistant women's basketball coach for the San Antonio Spurs. It looks like she has paved the way for many. We'll talk about that and more. You'll listen to A Kind Voice on Sports. Whatever you do, don't touch the dial. We'll be right back after this timeout.
Hi, this is Corey from Runa. And at Runa, we make a number of different beverages, all from one leaf called guayusa. Guayusa is a naturally caffeinated leaf from the Ecuadorian Amazon. Indigenous peoples in that area have been brewing and drinking it like tea for thousands of years. All the guayusa that we sell is certified organic, fair trade, and non-GMO. And because guayusa is naturally packed with caffeine and antioxidants, it gives you this really nice, clear-headed, clean, and focused energy. We think of ourselves as a lifestyle brand because guayusa fuels you in doing whatever it is in your life that you need or love to do. So if it's one of those days where you need to sit at your desk for 8 hours and pound out some project or report, then guayusa is perfect for fueling you and doing that work. Alternatively, if it's a beautiful day out and you're going to do yoga in the park or you're going for a bike ride in the woods, then guayusa is perfect for fueling that as well. It gives you this amazing, full-body, wholesome energy and helps you feel fully alive. And that's why we call our company Runa. Runa is a Quechua word that actually means fully alive or fully living human being. We're sold in natural, organic food stores across the country. We're also in Whole Foods nationwide, and you can always find a store near you on our website with our store locator at runa.org. Go out to a store near you, grab a box or a bottle or a can, and crack one open and try one today.
He went without food, not to lose weight, but to help people lose generations of hate. While many around him rose up with violence, he sat down for peace. When others used religion as an excuse for war, he used it to remind them of love. Mahatma Gandhi made the world a far better place by reaching out with the strength he cultivated within his soul. So, pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
And now back to A Kind Voice on Sports with Demetrius Means.
And thank you very much, and welcome back to A Kind Voice on Sports. We are talking women's sports here on A Kind Voice on Sports. This is your host, Demetrius Means. I'm talking with Allison Cockrell, the athletic director and softball coach at Northumberland High School in Heathville, Virginia. Keisha Paxton, the athletic director and former player over at the Apprentice School in Newport News, and the assistant women's basketball coach at Old Dominion University, Trina Patterson. Well, ladies, listen to this statement. This is by Craig Popovich. I am very much looking forward to the addition of Becky Hammond to our staff, the Spurs coach said. Having observed her working with our team this past season, I am confident in her basketball IQ, work ethic, and interpersonal skills will be a great benefit to the Spurs. Let's go to you, Allison. The one thing that caught my eye during his press conference was that he never mentioned the word gender. How important was that, or was it important at all?
I think it's important. I think it shows that he respects her coaching ability and her knowledge of the sport, and that was more important than whether or not she was male or female. And I think that it shows a lot of respect that he has for her and her abilities, both as a player and as a coach. It shows that he trusts in her. It's a big deal. I think that's where the focus should be. When you go into any other job, it shouldn't be, if you're interviewing for a job, it shouldn't be that you're male or female. It should be how well do you do the work. And I think that I would want an employer to say the same about me if I was in any other profession. I think that it's more important about what your knowledge is, your capabilities, and that trust, and not whether you're male or female.
Well, let's go to Trina. Trina, you heard what Allison just said, and that is all fine and dandy, and everything she said is correct. But as you know and I know, they're still going to talk about the fact that this young lady is a female, and she has just opened the door for many. What does it mean for a female now to be an assistant basketball coach for a professional NBA team?
I think it's a great move. Popovich is ahead of his game. He's always been ahead of his game, and is forward thinking. It's just going to set it up for the possibility of a woman to be for an NBA team. I think that Becky Hammon is super smart, born and raised in South Dakota, coached by her father in high school, 25 points a game in high school, played for Colorado State, and has played in Russia. She just has, and she was always cerebral in the way she played the game. So it makes perfect sense. There's a level of comfort there. They know her. They've seen her because she's right there. She's been there playing on the pro side, on the women's side. And, there's probably a level of comfort with her and some of those players.
Now, Trina, you coached her in 1998 in the Women's USA basketball. What made her special as a basketball player, and what's going to make her special as an assistant coach?
Becky was all business. We played with that team. It was the R. Jones Cup team, and you're overseas. You have to be very mature. We were in China, and we played, in that team. And Nell Faulkner was the head coach. She's the Olympic coach. She coached the Olympics, and Becky was a point guard from Colorado. She was just always very mature, very good with communicating with her teammates. Always stood out as just serious, just business. And basketball is business. It's not social. It can be, but it's not about social. It's about getting work done and winning games. And I'm sure that she's conveyed that to Greg Popovich.
And Keisha, this is really a big story. Some people may not want to say it is, but it's a big story. It's the first woman ever to be an assistant coach for an NBA team. Now, she comes in here with some pressure on her. Keisha, one of the things that she's going to have to establish is some credibility. So how does she go about doing that?
Well, I think she started off establishing credibility on the right foot, reading the article that I read about her appointment. She just, when asked, how are you going to handle the pressure, she says, well, first I'm just extremely humble, because she realizes the magnitude of the opportunity she's been given. So I think that will encourage her to respect the opportunity, even more so than, the average male that might get an assistant coach position in the NBA. But establishing credibility is going to be crucial. It's crucial for any female or any minority that gets an opportunity that's limited or never been given before. I think it might have been Trina that said that she's on stage, and she will always be on stage. Every move she makes will be scrutinized, and so she's just going to have to be smart about it. She's going to have to just make sure that she's making good decisions, that she's surrounding herself with the right people, and that she's getting it done. Like Trina said, it's about business, and if she was able to produce enough to get her into that position, if she can be consistent in doing the same, the credibility will come.
And Allison in Heathville, Virginia, from Northumberland High School, what do you think her biggest challenges will be?
Oh, I think she's going to face challenges like any new coach would face. Just learning how to approach the game from that level. It's always going to be a different challenge. But again, like was just said, you're going to be under a microscope, and things that she does that are normal to any other assistant coach in the league are going to be extraordinary, and are going to be taken. Everybody's going to be watching every move she makes, and that's going to speak to her character, how she handles that. And if she handles it, like she's been handling her business from day one, then it's going to be fine. It's not going to be, a big deal. It's the biggest thing for her, I think, is that, again, like was said before, she's on the stage, she's under a microscope, and she's just going to have to be confident in her abilities, and be as confident as Popovich is obviously confident in her, and to just keep doing what she's doing and staying true to herself as she takes this new opportunity and accepts this new challenge into coaching, on this huge level, this huge stage that she's about to step on, with the NBA and as much publicity and coverage as they get, that's just going to be the biggest challenge, I think.
And Trina, you coached her. You know what she was like as a player, and you have an idea what she will be like as a coach. In her situation now, being one of the assistant coaches for the San Antonio Spurs, do you think she's going in saying that I got to have something to prove?
No. I think that I'm just speaking from experience, and when you're trying to, you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You just have to strive for excellence. And so when you're in a situation when you're trying to win a championship, you just got to do what you do. And she's smart. So as an assistant coach, she's going to have to make sure that she has a scouting reports ready, that she communicates with the head coach on and the players in the film room. When they go and they watch and they need to see how who's driving right, who's driving left. This is what they do so that all of that stuff, that communication, that comfort level, and the fact that she has to, if she doesn't already know some of the lingo of the NBA, like nicknames that they probably call these guys in the league. You know what I mean? Because everybody is so familiar with basketball and coaching. A lot of it is paying attention to the small details. So again, the scouting reports for her and working on, taking the guy out and saying, let's get up some shots. And this is what I've seen you do on film. I think you can do a little better if you try this. So those are the things that she's already very familiar with. It's going to be them hearing a woman's voice, which they don't hear. That's just kind of going to got to get that comfort level. That's what I'm seeing from those guys. But just looking at the pictures, she's already been around them. Just looking at some of the pictures on the internet and communicating with Tony Parker. Those guys seem very mature, and they understand that they trust in Popovich, who says this is my assistant. So we believe in you, Popovich. We believe in Becky.
You're listening to A Kind Voice on Sports with your host, Demetrius Means. We're talking women's sports, and we're talking about Becky Hammond, the new assistant basketball coach for the San Antonio Spurs, the first woman assistant coach. I'm talking with Keisha Paxton, Trina Patterson, and Allison Cockrell. Keisha, Trina made some great points, but one of the biggest things is how will she be able to gain their respect?
In some ways, I think she already has. I don't think, as a coach and as a leader, I don't think you make that kind of appointment if you know that there's already a tremendous amount of resistance to it on in your program to the idea of having a female coach. My understanding is she's been working with the team in some volunteer capacity prior to. She's already established herself and her abilities, not only to the coach but also to the players. And so I think that she's already kind of laid some groundwork. Now that's not going to be the catch-all, end-all. Like I said before, she's going to have to come in and produce. She's going to have to be a no-nonsense, a type of individual. She's going to have to be able to relate to them the same way that a male coach would have. She's going to have to make herself, for lack of a better description, blend in. That she can't appear to be, overly female and things like that. She's got to be very strong and very, very committed to the job. And so, I think all that comes with time and consistency. As long as she's consistent in what she does, I think that if she's effective in what she does, she'll earn that respect.
So, Keisha, if you were advising her, what would be the first order of business that you would tell her?
Be assertive. I would tell her, in everything that you do, be assertive. Make sure you do your homework. And when it comes to establishing this credibility and having this opportunity, she's going to have to do a little bit more than the next person would. So I would just tell her to, be assertive, do your homework. You got the job and opportunity for a reason. That part's over. Get to work.
Well, Allison Hammond is 37 years old. She played for the women's WNBA for the San Antonio Spurs, and she's going to retire after 16 seasons. The one thing that she has going for Allison is that she knows the game and she has some knowledge. So how much will her knowledge help her?
Oh, I think it'll help her a tremendous amount. Having experience on a professional level and just being around the game, the game of basketball, because that's what everyone's out there to play. The same game. It's a game of basketball, and she's obviously got that knowledge. She has the experience of playing at a high level. She's worked around that environment in the NBA, like on that volunteer basis with these guys who are world champions. They just brought the title back to San Antonio. She's been around that and sees kind of how they do things and how she knows can kind of take her experiences on how she's been successful in her professional career for so long. Like you said, as a 16-year veteran. And she sees, other veteran guys in that organization, and she can kind of work with them and mold the new guys to kind of step up to that level. I think she's got more playing experience than a lot of those new guys are going to have, and that experience and her knowledge of the game and her just background and probably her passion for the game are going to help her tremendously in this new role.
And Trina, you just heard Allison talk about her experience is going to help her, and we heard Keisha talking about that she's going to have a voice. Does she try to change from who she is?
No, I think that Spurs franchise is, kind of thinking about the whole fit. The fit is they're just, the way they do things is their way, and she's been there and a part of that community for 16 years. The San Antonio community embraces her. Popovich says that, just reading a quote from him, he says that she just gets it. It wouldn't matter if she were a man or a woman. He says that she knows when to talk and she knows when to shut up. It's just as simple as you can put that, and that's from him, and saying she's been perfect. It's just that was a good fit for them. Some NBA coaches don't even have playing experience. Not all of the NBA coaches all of them have been male except for Becky full-time, don't have any experience playing on the court. She has the experience playing on the court. She has a familiarity with the players in the community. The head coach says that she gets it. I just think it's a win-win situation. And it wouldn't work in maybe it wouldn't work in any other franchise. But my hat goes off to Becky because she's been put in this situation to be successful.
You're listening to A Kind Voice on Sports with your host, Demetrius Means. We're talking about Becky Hammond, the assistant basketball coach for the NBA team, the San Antonio Spurs. I'm talking with Allison Cockrell, Keisha Paxton, and Trina Patterson. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with more of A Kind Voice on Sports. Whatever you do, don't touch the dial. We'll be right back.
Hi. We're not sorry we missed you. Your call really isn't that important to us. But if you leave your name, number, and a brief message, a computer will record your voice, and a tiny red light on our phone will flash until we cover it with a piece of tape. Bye now.
What are you really saying to the customer who can't reach a real person? Help your business rediscover the lost art of human interaction with Ruby Receptionist, the virtual receptionist that does what no voice machine or ordinary answering service could ever do. From our offices in Portland, Oregon, Ruby handles all your calls with the perfect mix of friendliness and professionalism, making your customers feel special while making you look good, just like a full-time receptionist at a fraction of the cost. Try Ruby free for 14 days. Visit callruby.com, or better yet, call us, 866-611-RUBY.
This is NASCAR driver Kurt Busch, and I am proud to support our nation's veterans. Do you know you can get a faster decision on your disability compensation claims by filing an electronic fully developed claim, or e-claim, on eBenefits? Take it from a guy who lives his life in the fast lane. Faster is better. Visit ebenefits.va.gov today to learn more.
E-claims, online VA claims made simple. A message from the Department of Veterans Affairs.
And thank you very much, and welcome back to A Kind Voice on Sports. This is your host, Demetrius Means. I'm talking with Allison Cockrell. She's the athletic director and softball coach at Northumberland High School in Heathsville, Virginia. Also, Keisha Paxton, the athletic director, former player at the Apprentice School in Newport News, Virginia, and also Trina Patterson, the assistant women's basketball coach at Old Dominion University out of Norfolk, Virginia. I wanted to get to a quick trivia question. I wanted to check you guys' knowledge and see if you guys would know one of these trivia questions. Let's start off. Let me go to Keisha. You ready?
That depends. We'll see.
This is a yes or no answer. Was Michael Jordan ever cut from his high school team?
Yes.
You got it.
Thank you for that question.
And while we're on you, Keisha, do you think that she'll gain more respect from the players because she's a female, and I say that with all due respect?
Will she gain more respect because she is a female?
Will she have more respect?
I think that there's some respect that she will naturally be given before she's even done anything at all, because I do think there are people out there, male and female, that can appreciate the decision that was made and the opportunity she was given, and they want to see her succeed, and they want to support that, and so right off the cuff, they're going to respect her. So I think there will be some of that she will certainly get just because she was given the position, and rightfully so.
Allison, obviously this will be a long learning experience for her. How long do you think it will take for Becky Hammond to become comfortable in that position as an assistant coach?
I mean, I don't know how long it'll take her. I think that it's all going to depend on how she approaches it and how hard she's willing to work. Again, kind of like Trina touched on, it's all about work. She's got to get in there and get a job done. And I think, in my experience, the harder you work and the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And with that success and seeing results, I think that the comfort level kind of comes with that. I think, once she starts to feel that she's got the respect of the players, that she's having success, she's seeing the results that she wants from the work that she's doing, then obviously she's going to get more comfortable with her role on that team.
Trina, what would be the transition for her be like going from the floor to the bench?
Well, the transition has to be getting to understand the culture of the coaching staff, the head coach. Getting to understand, her first 90 days or less than that, what he expects, what the organization expects, being able to get to know the team, understanding what systems they run, what plays, what's their defensive scheme. Kind of that's the number one thing. She doesn't have to worry about recruiting. She's just all basketball, all X's and O's.
I'll tell you what, you ladies have been super fantastic, and we're running down here in time. But before we end the show, I want to end the show by going to each one of you guys on the panel, and I'll start with Keisha. Keisha, if you can tell me within a minute what makes the Apprentice School so special, and also an email address if someone wants to get in touch with you.
Sure, I'll start with my email address. It is Keisha, Keisha, .Pexton, Pexton, at as.edu. That stands for the Apprentice School at edu. The Apprentice School is a very special and unique place. We've got so much going on. Just opened up a brand new 95,000 square foot facility in downtown Newport News last December. Actually recently just partnered with Old Dominion University to offer a bachelor's degree program along with our apprenticeship program. But the Apprentice School is a special place because it creates a special type of individual. We produce tradesmen, journeymen, professionals, business engineer individuals of all types. And what's unique about our program is that, our students come here tuition free. They're employed with Newport News Shipbuilding at Huntington Ingalls as employees. They're students of the Apprentice School, and they're athletes of the Apprentice School Athletics program. And so it's just a well-rounded experience for the right person, and we just have a lot to offer, and we're just so proud of what we get to do every day.
And very well done. And Keisha, my apologies calling you Paxton. It's Pexton. Is that correct?
I get that all the time. I usually say my name is Keisha Pexton, Paxton with an E. So it's all good.
All right, Allison, tell me about what makes Northumberland High School a good school, and your email address if somebody wants to get in touch with you.
All right. First of all, I just want to thank you, Demetrius, for including me in this tonight. I'm a kind of a young buck with regards to experience on this panel, and it's been an honor to hear the thoughts and opinions of these other two ladies and to just share on their knowledge, and I really appreciate that opportunity. My email address is acockrell, COCKRELL, at NUCPS.net. NUCPS stands for Northumberland County Public Schools.net. I am a lifer here at Northumberland. I grew up here, was born and raised, and graduated from Northumberland High School, played 3 sports, and had some success, and went away to college to play ball and absolutely came back when I had the opportunity. We're a small town. We're very athletically minded, and our community backs us 100%. And it's a great atmosphere. It's absolutely a small town feel, and we're a small town, but we like to think we have a big name. And our community supports us 100%. And there's really nowhere else that I could see myself at this time, just because I'm so passionate about our community and about our athletes and about getting our kids to the next level, if that's what they choose to do. And we really do have support across the board, whether it be male sports, female sports. We're excited about our kids and about the opportunities that they have once they leave here.
Oh, excellent. And Trina, you're up next, and I hate to put pressure on you, but we've got about a minute. Let's get your email address, and this is your first year as the assistant coach with Old Dominion Women's Basketball. What makes Old Dominion Basketball great? And give us your email address.
My email address is tpat@odu.edu. tpat, where it's at. That's how people can remember that. It's tpat@odu.edu. And my Twitter handle is @CoachTpat. I love to have more followers. Old Dominion is great. The head coach is Karen Barefoot. We've won 3 national championships. It's the 4th winningest program in all history of women's basketball. It's the Lady Monarchs, and that's why it's great. I know we're running out of time, Demetrius, but I really appreciate you inviting me to join this panel with Keisha and Allison. It's been a great opportunity. And
Keisha, I got to tell you, much respect for you. I know that you work hard as an AD, And I appreciate your professionalism, Keisha, and I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so much. It was just an awesome opportunity. I knew it would be, and I just thank you for creating this platform for us to have an opportunity to have a voice and to appreciate what we get to participate in and what we love, which is athletics.
And Allison, with you, I worked with you many years, and you have an incredible energy and a desire to turn the school around in athletics. I've got much respect for you. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, my pleasure, man. I appreciate it.
And Trina, again, thanks to you because I hear the energy in your voice. You've been around, and you also are downtown in Norfolk, and I appreciate you joining me.
Thank you very much.
All right. So we appreciate everyone who was on the panel coming on this show, A Kind Voice. These women all have a kind voice. I want to remind everybody who's out there, it is always nice to say something nice to somebody. It could be that one thing that you say to somebody that could turn their life around or even lift them up. So for Allison Cockrell, Keisha Paxton, and Trina Patterson, this is Demetrius Means saying until next time, take care of yourself because we'd rather be talking to you than about you. You have been listening to A Kind Voice on Sports.
With a kind